The massive space station hung in the darkness near Proxima Centauri, like a crystal fortress. Ambassador Ji-won Kim pressed her face against the transport window, watching the alien structure grow larger as their ship approached. She had spent 3 years preparing for this moment. Today, humanity would take its first step into the galactic community. "It's bigger than our report suggested," said Minho Park, checking his weapons one last time. The military attaché never went anywhere without being armed, even on diplomatic missions. His dark eyes scanned every detail of the station's surface. "The energy readings are off the charts," added Dawan Choi from his seat across the cabin. The technology coordinator's tablet showed streams of data about the station's power systems. "They're using technologies we can't even understand yet." Nari Lee looked up from her translation device. "I've loaded 43 different alien languages into the system. But some of these species communicate through colors, smells, or electromagnetic fields. It's going to be challenging." Subin Han, the team's medical officer, was running final scans on their biological protection suits. "Remember, some of these aliens breathe different gases or have toxic skin. Don't touch anything without checking with me first." Ji-won nodded to her team. Each person had been carefully chosen for this mission. Earth's future might depend on what happened in the next few days. The Galactic Council controlled trade, technology, and travel between the stars. If humanity wanted to expand beyond their current dozen worlds, they needed the Council's approval. The transport docked with a soft thud. Alien security officers waited for them in the airlock. These creatures looked like walking trees with silver bark and glowing blue eyes. They spoke through their translator devices in mechanical voices. "Humans, you will follow. No sudden moves. No weapons." Minho reluctantly handed over his sidearm. The aliens led them through corridors filled with strange architecture. The walls curved in impossible ways, and the gravity seemed to shift as they walked. Other alien beings moved past them, some floating, some crawling, some that looked like living crystals. "Incredible," whispered Nari. "Look at the diversity." Each species must have evolved under completely different conditions. They entered a vast chamber with a domed ceiling that showed the stars outside. 12 different sections surrounded a central speaking area. Each section held representatives from the major galactic species. Ji-won recognized some from her studies. The collective occupied the largest section. These beings shared a single mind across millions of individual bodies. They looked like gray humanoids with large heads and black eyes. When one spoke, they all spoke together in perfect unity. "The human delegation approaches," they said in unison. "We have observed your species for 50 Earth years. You expand quickly across space. You fight many wars on your homeworld. You consume resources without regard for other life." In another section sat beings made of pure energy, contained within crystal shells. These were the Ascended Ones, the oldest known species in the galaxy. They had evolved beyond physical form millions of years ago. Their voices sounded like music when they spoke. Young species often show such patterns, they sang. "The question is whether humans can learn wisdom before they become a threat to others." Ji-won stepped forward into the speaking circle. Her heart pounded, but she kept her voice steady. "Honored Council members, I am Ambassador Ji-won Kim, representing the United Earth Government and our 12 colony worlds. We come seeking friendship and mutual cooperation." A creature that looked like a giant insect with metal limbs clicked its approval. "Pretty words, human. But your actions speak differently. You have taken 12 star systems in only 60 years. You build weapons instead of art. You fight among yourselves even now." "We do not deny our past conflicts," Ji-won replied. "But humans have also shown great capacity for peace, cooperation, and discovery. We have ended war on our homeworld. Our colonies work together in harmony. We seek to contribute to galactic civilization, not dominate it." The collective spoke again. "Your expansion threatens established trade routes. Your technology develops too quickly. Other species fear you will become aggressive competitors." Dawan stepped forward. "Our technology could benefit everyone. We've developed new medical treatments, faster space travel, and more efficient energy systems. We're willing to share our discoveries." A being made of living metal laughed with a sound like grinding gears. "Share? Humans take what they want. Your history shows this pattern on every world you inhabit. That history also shows we can change and grow," Subin added. "Human medicine has saved lives across dozens of species. We've shared our agricultural techniques with struggling colonies. We believe in helping others." The energy beings pulsed with different colors as they communicated among themselves. Finally, they spoke again. The Council will consider humanity's request. But first you must accept certain conditions. Ji-won felt a chill run down her spine. What conditions? The collective answered. Humans must agree to expansion limits. No more than 15 star systems total. No military vessels beyond your borders. No technology sharing with non-council species, except monitoring stations on all human worlds. Those aren't conditions for membership, Minho said angrily. Those are terms of surrender. The insect creature's metal limbs clicked rapidly. Aggressive species must be contained. History teaches this lesson repeatedly. Accept limitations or face consequences. Ji-won raised her hand for calm. We need time to consider these terms. They would require approval from our government and colonies. You have 1 day, the Ascended Ones sang. Present your answer tomorrow. The alien escorts led them to guest quarters in another part of the station. The rooms were designed for multiple species with adjustable atmosphere and gravity. The humans gathered in Ji-won's room to discuss their situation. These aren't negotiations, Minho said. They're trying to put us in a cage. The monitoring stations alone would end human independence, Doan agreed. They could control our technology development, our trade, everything. Nari was studying her translation data. I'm picking up private conversations between council members. They're afraid of us, really afraid. They see humans as a potential threat to their power structure. Maybe we should consider their offer, Subin suggested. 15 systems could support billions of humans. Is expansion worth risking war? It's not about expansion, Ji-won replied. It's about freedom. If we accept these terms, we become a servant species. Our children would grow up knowing humanity chose slavery over dignity. She contacted Earth using their encrypted communication system. Prime Minister Hyunwoo Nam appeared on the screen after several minutes. His face looked tired and worried. Ambassador, what's the situation? Ji-won explained the council's demands. Nam listened without interruption, his expression growing darker with each detail. These terms are completely unacceptable, he finally said. But we need to be smart about this. Don't give them a direct refusal yet. Try to negotiate. Buy us time. Time for what? Director Yu is implementing some contingency plans, just in case diplomacy fails. Can you delay their deadline? I'll try. The next morning, Ji-won requested another audience with the council. She stood in the speaking circle again, facing the assembled alien representatives. Honored council members, Earth needs more time to consider your terms. Our government must consult with all colony worlds before making such an important decision. The collective's response was immediate and final. 1 day was generous. Your answer is required now. Ji-won took a deep breath. This was the moment that would determine humanity's future. Then our answer is no. Humans will not accept containment or monitoring. We seek partnership, not subjugation. We're willing to discuss reasonable limits on expansion, but we won't surrender our sovereignty. The council chamber erupted in alien sounds of anger and surprise. The energy beings flashed red and orange. The metal creature's limbs clicked furiously. Only the collective remained calm. Then humanity has chosen its path, they said. This audience is ended. You will remain as our guests while we decide your species' future. Security officers surrounded the human delegation. These weren't the same tree-like beings from before. These looked like warriors from multiple species, all armed with energy weapons. So much for diplomatic immunity, Minho muttered. As they were led away to what were clearly prison cells, Ji-won wondered if she had just doomed her entire species. But in her heart, she knew she had made the right choice. Some things were worth fighting for, even if the odds seemed impossible. The die was cast. Now humanity would learn what price the galaxy demanded for defiance. The prison cells on the council station were designed to hold many different types of alien life. The humans found themselves in a section with standard oxygen atmosphere and Earth-normal gravity. But the walls were made of some kind of energy field that burned when touched. Ji-won paced in her cell, thinking about their situation. 3 days had passed since their arrest. No one had spoken to them. Food appeared through slots in the walls, but it was basic nutrition paste that tasted like nothing. Any word from Earth? Minho asked from his cell next door. Communication is blocked, Doan replied. His technical equipment had been taken away, but he still had his basic scanner hidden in his boot. The station is jamming all frequencies. Nari was listening to the alien guards talking outside their cells. I can understand some of what they're saying. The council is still debating what to do with us. What are the options? Subin asked. Nothing good. Some want to send us home with a warning. Others want to make an example of us. On Earth, Prime Minister Hyunwoo Nam stood in the emergency command center beneath Geneva. 3 days without contact from the diplomatic mission had everyone worried. Director Tae-hoon Yu of Earth Defense Command stood beside him, studying reports from their spy networks. Our sources in alien space have gone silent, Yu reported. That usually means something big is happening. What about our backup communication systems? All blocked. The council station is using military-grade jamming. They don't want any signals getting in or out. Aryam Shin, Yu's deputy, brought new information. Sir, our deep space monitoring stations are picking up unusual activity. Multiple alien fleets are moving toward human space. Nam felt his blood turn cold. How many ships? At least 300 vessels from different species. They're staying just outside our territory, but they're definitely positioning for something. Begin quiet mobilization of our defense fleets, Nam ordered. Don't make it obvious, but get our people ready. And contact the colonies. They need to know we might have a problem. Back on the council station, Jiwon heard footsteps approaching their cells. The energy fields vanished, and a group of alien guards entered. These were different from the tree-like beings they had seen before. These creatures looked like they were made of black stone with glowing red eyes. Human female designated leader. You will come. They dragged Jiwon from her cell while her team shouted protests. The corridors seemed different now, darker with more guards everywhere. They brought her to the council chamber, but now it was filled with alien spectators. Hundreds of different species watched from viewing areas above the main floor. The 12 council species sat in their sections as before, but their mood was completely different. The air felt heavy with anger and decision. The collective spoke first. Ambassador Jawan Kim of Earth, you have been found guilty of representing a dangerous species that threatens galactic peace and stability. Guilty of what? Jiwan demanded. We committed no crimes. We came here for peaceful negotiations. The energy beings pulsed with dark red colors. Your species' entire existence is the crime. Humans spread like a virus across space. You consume, you destroy, you take what others have built. The metal creature's limbs clicked with satisfaction. Evidence from human space confirms your aggressive nature. Your colonies strip mine planets. Your ships carry enough weapons to destroy cities. Your government builds secret military facilities. Every species has the right to defend itself, Jiwan replied. If you've been spying on us, you know we've never attacked anyone without cause. Cause, laughed the insect being. Humans always find cause for violence. Your history is written in the blood of your own kind. Now you bring that violence to the stars. The Ascended Ones sang in haunting harmonies. Young species must be guided or contained. Those who refuse guidance must serve as warnings to others. Jiwan realized what was happening. You're going to execute me. Not just you, the collective said. Your death will be broadcast across the galaxy. Every species will see what happens to those who threaten the established order. Your people will see the price of defiance. And if they surrender after witnessing your fate, added the metal creature, they might be allowed to survive as a servant race. The guards forced Jiwon into the center of the chamber. Cameras and recording devices focused on her from every angle. She thought about her family on Earth, about the colonies full of humans working to build better lives among the stars. Any final words? Asked the energy beings. Jiwon stood as tall as she could. Her voice carried across the chamber and into the recording devices. Humanity will not bow. We will not serve, and we will not forget this moment. You think you know humans, but you understand nothing. We are not just another species to be contained. We are the ones who climbed out of caves and reached for the stars. We are the ones who turned a dead rock into a garden, and we are the ones who will make you regret this day. The collective raised their hands. Energy began to build around Jiwon's body. Dramatic words from a dying species. Let the galaxy see what becomes of those who defy us. The molecular disintegrator hit Jiwon with invisible force. Her body began to break apart at the atomic level. But she didn't scream. She didn't beg. She stared directly into the cameras and spoke her last words. Remember my name. Jiwon Kim. Remember what you did here, because my people will never forget. Then she was gone, turned to scattered atoms that drifted away like dust. The chamber filled with alien sounds of satisfaction and approval. The council had made their point. Any species watching this broadcast would understand the cost of challenging galactic authority. But in the detention area, Minho Park had been working on the energy fields holding them. His military training included electronics and security systems. When the guards left to watch the execution, he managed to short-circuit the control panel. "Move," he whispered to the others as their cell doors opened. "We have maybe 5 minutes before they notice." The 4 surviving humans crept through maintenance tunnels toward the docking bay. Nari used her language skills to read alien warning signs and avoid security sensors. Doan's technical knowledge helped them bypass electronic locks. "There," Subin pointed to a small transport ship. "It's the same type we arrived in. Can you fly it?" Minho asked Doan. "The controls are pretty standard." "Yeah, I think so." They ran across the docking bay as alarms began to sound behind them. Security forces were discovering their escape. Laser fire sparked off the walls around them as they dove into the transport. Doan's fingers flew over the controls. The ship's engines came online just as alien security officers reached the bay doors. "Hold on!" The transport shot out of the docking bay and into space. Behind them, Council patrol ships began pursuit. But the human transport was faster and more maneuverable. "They're jamming our communications," Doan reported. "But I recorded everything on G1's hidden data device. The execution, the speeches, all of it." "Then we make sure it reaches Earth," Minho said grimly. "No matter what it takes." The journey home took 4 days of constant evasion. Council ships tried to intercept them at every jump point, but human engineering proved superior in the crucial moments. When they finally reached the outer edge of human space, Earth Defense Command ships met them with a full escort. The news of G1's execution hit humanity like a physical blow. Protests erupted on every human world. The footage of her death played on every news channel. Children asked their parents why the aliens had killed the nice lady who only wanted to talk. Prime Minister Nam stood before the United Earth Assembly with tears in his eyes. "Today we learned the true nature of our galactic neighbors. They executed our ambassador not for any crime, but simply for being human. They murdered G1 Kim to send a message of fear." The assembly hall was completely silent. Every delegate, every observer, every journalist hung on Nam's words. "But they have misjudged us completely. Ji-won Kim died with honor, refusing to bow to those who would enslave our species. Her sacrifice will not be forgotten, and it will not go unanswered." On the military space station above Earth's moon, Director Yu was activating systems that had been hidden for 20 years. Secret research projects that prepared for this exact situation. Weapons and strategies that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. "Sir," Ariam reported, "all colonies have confirmed receipt of the execution footage. Colonial governments are declaring full support for whatever response Earth decides. And our special projects? All systems are operational. We can begin implementation within 72 hours. Yu nodded grimly. The aliens thought they knew humanity. They thought executing one ambassador would terrify the entire species into submission. They had no idea what they had just unleashed. The human race was about to show the galaxy what happened when you murdered their people. The emergency session of the United Earth Assembly lasted 18 hours. Representatives from every human world watched the execution footage again and again. Some wept openly. Others sat in stunned silence. All of them felt the same burning anger growing in their hearts. Prime Minister Hyunwoo Nam stood at the central podium, his face showing the strain of 3 sleepless days. Behind him, giant screens showed images of Ji-won Kim speaking to her family before leaving for the diplomatic mission. The contrast between her hopeful smile then and her final moments in the council chamber was heartbreaking. "Fellow humans," Nam began, his voice carrying to every corner of human space. "We stand at a crossroads. The Galactic Council has shown us their true nature. They see us not as potential partners but as threats to be eliminated or enslaved." Jae-hyun Ko, Secretary of Defense, stepped forward with a classified folder. "Mr. Prime Minister, it's time to reveal what we've been preparing for this situation." Nam nodded. "For 25 years since our first contact with alien civilizations, we have prepared for the possibility that diplomacy might fail. Today, I authorize the revelation of the Annihilation Protocol." A murmur ran through the assembly. Even most government officials had never heard this term before. General Insu Jang, Earth's chief military strategist, activated holographic displays around the chamber. The images showed weapon systems and battle plans that looked like science fiction nightmares. The Annihilation Protocol, Zhang explained, is humanity's ultimate response to existential threats. We developed it based on one simple principle. If someone tries to destroy us, we will destroy them completely and absolutely. The first hologram showed a massive space-based weapon platform. Phase 1. Solar Lance. We can manipulate stellar matter to create controlled solar flares or cause stars to go nova. Any star system that attacks humanity can be sterilized within hours. Gasps filled the chamber. The power to destroy entire star systems was beyond what most people imagined possible. Phase 2. Void Swarm. The display changed to show clouds of microscopic machines. Self-replicating nanomachines that can break down any matter at the molecular level. They spread through space, consuming enemy ships, stations, even entire planets. They only stop when they encounter human genetic markers or receive shutdown commands. Dr. Yunji Song, the quantum physicist who had designed much of the technology, stepped forward. The Void Swarm is our most terrifying weapon. Once released, it spreads like a plague through enemy space. It can consume entire civilizations in weeks. The third hologram showed technology that seemed impossible even to advanced human scientists. Phase 3. Species Memory. Using quantum manipulation of spacetime, we can remove a species from existence itself. Not just kill them, but make it as if they never existed. Only human memories would remain of their previous existence. The chamber fell completely silent. The scope of humanity's hidden weapons was beyond anything the representatives had imagined. These weapons, Nam continued, were created in the hope that we would never need them. We wanted to join the galactic community as friends and equals, but the Council has made their position clear. They executed our ambassador to send a message of fear. Now we will send a message of our own. Minho Park, who had escaped from the Council station, stood to address the assembly. I watched them murder Ambassador Kim for the crime of being human. They laughed about it. They called us a virus that needed to be eliminated. They think we're weak because we sought peace first. His voice grew harder with each word. They have no idea who they're dealing with. Humans don't just fight wars, we end them. When we decide something needs to be destroyed, we don't just defeat it. We make sure it can never threaten anyone again. The vote was held within the hour. The resolution was simple. Authorize the Annihilation Protocol against the Galactic Council and any species that supported them. The result was overwhelming. 847 votes in favor, 3 abstentions, 0 votes against. Unilim, head of human intelligence, revealed the extent of their spy networks throughout Council space. We have operatives on 47 Council worlds and space stations. We know the location of their main military bases, government centers, and population hubs. We also have complete technical specifications on their weapons and defenses. Admiral Seokjin Kwan, commander of the Human Space Navy, presented the battle plans. Our ships are already moving into position around Council space. We've been building fleets for this possibility for 2 decades. They think they know our military strength. But our actual capabilities are 10 times what we've shown them. Captain Bo Young-an commanded the newest and most advanced ship in the human fleet, the HSS Soul's Vengeance. Her vessel carried the prototype solar lance system along with experimental void swarm deployment pods. My ship can eliminate entire star systems, she reported. We also have 43 other vessels equipped with various protocol weapons. The Council has maybe 200 ships total across all their species. We can destroy them all in the first day of fighting. But Nam raised his hand for attention. Before we begin this war, we will give the Council one chance to surrender those responsible for Ambassador Kim's murder. Not out of mercy, but because honor demands we offer terms before total war. The message was broadcast on all galactic communication channels within 6 hours. It was simple and direct. To the Galactic Council, you murdered our ambassador in violation of all civilized law. You executed Ji-won Kim to frighten humanity into submission. You have 48 hours to surrender every individual involved in her death, and to acknowledge full responsibility for this crime. If you refuse, or if you attempt any action against human space, we will implement the Annihilation Protocol. This is not a negotiation. This is your only warning. The United Human Government. The response from the Council was broadcast just 12 hours later. The same energy beings who had ordered Ji-won's execution appeared on screens throughout human space. Pathetic humans believe they can threaten their superiors. Your primitive weapons and empty boasts amuse us. We have contacted every major galactic power. All of them support the Council's action against your dangerous species. You're surrounded and outnumbered by thousands to one. The metal creature appeared next. Your ambassador died as an example. Many more humans will die if you do not accept your place as servants. Surrender now and some of you might be allowed to live under proper supervision. The collective delivered the final insult. Humans are children playing with weapons they do not understand. Return to your small worlds and be grateful we allow you to exist at all. Continue this defiance and your species will join your dead ambassador. When the Council's message ended, every human in the galaxy felt the same cold fury. The aliens hadn't just rejected their terms, they had mocked Jiwan's death and threatened to kill more humans. Nam stood before the assembly one final time. The Council has chosen war. They believe we are weak and primitive. They think our weapons are toys and our resolve is brittle. They are about to learn how wrong they are. He turned to General Zhang. Implement the Annihilation Protocol. Show them what humanity does to those who murder our people. With pleasure, Mr. Prime Minister. Orders went out to human fleets throughout the galaxy. Admiral Quan commanded the main battle group, but smaller forces were positioned near every Council world and station. The attack would be simultaneous and overwhelming. Captain An received her orders aboard the Soul's Vengeance. Target Hive Prime, homeworld of the Collective. Execute Solar Lance Protocol on their star. Make it burn bright enough to be seen from Earth. Lieutenant Woojin Kim, Jiwan's younger brother, commanded a boarding team aboard the attack ship Righteous Fury. His mission was to capture Council leaders alive, not for mercy, but for justice. Dr. Song prepared the species memory system on the research station at Alpha Centauri. Her target was the metal creatures who had laughed about Jiwan's death. They would be the first species to learn that some insults could not be survived. Throughout human space, colonies and fleets prepared for war. But this wouldn't be a normal conflict with battles and campaigns. This would be an extermination, swift, total, and merciless. The timer counted down. 47 hours, 32 minutes until the deadline expired. The Council thought they were dealing with another young species that could be bullied into submission. They were about to discover that humanity had spent 50,000 years climbing to the top of one food chain. Now they were ready to claim their place at the top of another. The 48-hour deadline passed without any response from the Council. At exactly noon Earth Standard Time, Admiral Seokjin Kwan gave the order that changed galactic history forever. All units, this is command. Execute Annihilation Protocol. Let them burn. The first target was Hive Prime, homeworld of the Collective. Captain Boyoung An positioned the Soul's Vengeance at the edge of the star system, far enough away to avoid the destruction she was about to cause. Solar Lance charging, her weapons officer reported. Target locked on the star's core. Fire when ready. The weapon sent a concentrated beam of exotic particles into the star's heart. Within minutes, the carefully balanced fusion reactions began to destabilize. The star started burning hotter and brighter, its surface erupting with massive solar flares. On Hive Prime, the Collective felt their shared mind fragment as panic spread through billions of connected beings. They had never imagined that any species could weaponize stellar mechanics. Evacuation impossible, they spoke in terrified unison as their world began to bake under increased radiation. Star going nova. All worlds and system doomed. The star exploded 6 hours later, wiping out the Collective's entire civilization in seconds. 17 billion beings who had shared a single consciousness were reduced to expanding gas and radiation. At the same time, other human fleets struck throughout Council space. The attacks were perfectly coordinated, hitting every major Council world simultaneously. The energy beings called the Ascended Ones discovered that their crystal shells offered no protection against Void Swarm nanomachines. Lieutenant Woojin Kim led the assault on their capital station, watching through his helmet display as the microscopic machines consumed everything they touched. They're trying to escape in energy form, reported his sergeant. The swarms are adapting to pursue them. Good, Woojin said coldly, thinking of his sister's final moments. No one escapes. No one. The nanomachines evolved in real time, learning to disrupt even pure energy patterns. The Ascended Ones, who had existed for millions of years beyond physical form, screamed as their essence was torn apart by machines smaller than atoms. Dr. Yoonji Song activated the species memory system from her laboratory on Alpha Centauri. Her target was the metal creatures who had mocked Ji-won Kim's death with their grinding laughter. Quantum field stabilized, she reported to Earth Command. Beginning temporal erasure sequence. The process took 3 hours. Across the galaxy, every trace of the metal species simply vanished. Their cities became empty ruins with no indication of who had built them. Their ships drifted vacant through space. Even their names were erased from alien databases and historical records. Only humans remembered that the species had ever existed. To everyone else, those worlds had always been empty. Those ships had always been derelict. Erasure complete, Dr. Song announced. Species-designated Iron Lords removed from timeline. Only human memory banks retain record of their existence. The Suryo, insect-like species that had demanded human containment, found their military fleet trapped in a gravity well, created by human stellar manipulation technology. Their ships, designed for speed and agility, were crushed like eggs as space itself was twisted around them. General In Su-jang monitored the battle from Earth Command, watching as red indicators vanished from the galactic map. Each red dot represented a council species or major installation. One by one they were going dark. Status report, he requested. Collective extinct. Ascended ones extinct. Iron Lords erased. Swarm Masters. Fleet destroyed. Homeworld under nanomachine consumption. Crystal Singers surrendering. Stonewalkers requesting mercy terms. The war was barely 12 hours old, and half the council was already destroyed. On the council's central station where Ji-won had been executed, alien representatives panicked as human ships surrounded them. These weren't the same small diplomatic vessels they had seen before. These were massive warships bristling with weapons that could crack planets. Councilor Vexahai of the Tree People, one of the few remaining council species, tried to open communication with the human fleet. Human ships we wish to negotiate. This destruction serves no purpose. Billions of innocent beings have died. Admiral Kwan's response was broadcast throughout the station. You executed our ambassador for the crime of being human. You laughed about it. You called us a virus. Now you learn what a virus really does. We were following established protocol for dangerous species, and we are following human protocol for those who murder our people. The Tree People section of the station was hit by precise missile strikes. Vexai and his entire delegation were vaporized instantly. The remaining council members watched in horror as their supposed place of sanctuary became a death trap. But the most terrifying attack was happening on the world of the Void Swimmers, a species of energy creatures similar to the Ascended ones. They lived in the vacuum of space around their homeworld, feeding on cosmic radiation. Captain Jaemin Yoon commanded the human fleet attacking their system. His ships deployed a new weapon, engineered black holes that could be guided and controlled. Deploy the gravity bombs, he ordered. Let them swim in nothing. The artificial black holes began consuming everything in the system: planets, moons, space stations, and the energy beings themselves. The Void Swimmers tried to flee, but the gravitational fields caught them like insects in a web. Within hours, the entire star system was gone, collapsed into a single point of infinite density. Where a thriving civilization had existed for thousands of years, only twisted space-time remained. On Earth, Prime Minister Nam watched the battle reports with grim satisfaction. The aliens had expected a long war of attrition. Instead, they were facing complete annihilation in a matter of days. Sir, reported Defense Secretary Ko, 3 more council species have surrendered unconditionally. They're begging for mercy terms. What are our casualties? 14 ships damaged, none destroyed. 0 human deaths, Nam nodded. Human technology had advanced far beyond what the council imagined. 25 years of secret military development had created weapons that made traditional warfare obsolete. But the most shocking moment came when the remaining council species tried to use their ultimate weapon, a device that could destroy entire solar systems by collapsing their stars. The weapon fired at Earth's solar system, intending to kill all of humanity at once. The beam struck Earth's sun and simply disappeared, absorbed by defensive technology that surrounded the entire star. Humanity had been preparing for this war longer than anyone knew. Dr. Hanul Park, director of Solar Defense Systems, smiled as she watched the energy readings. Their star killer just gave our sun a small energy boost. Should make for some nice sunsets this week. The failed attack was the Council's last hope. Within 36 hours of the war's beginning, 9 of the 12 council species were extinct. The remaining 3 sent identical surrender messages. The remaining council species surrender unconditionally to human authority. We acknowledge complete guilt in the murder of Ambassador Ji-won Kim. We submit to any punishment humans deem appropriate. Please stop the killing. Admiral Kwon consulted with Earth Command. Orders, sir. General Jiang's response was immediate. Accept their surrender. But make it clear, this is not the end. This is the beginning of a new galactic order. The war was over in less than 2 days. Humanity had demonstrated that they weren't just another species seeking membership in the galactic community. They were the new apex predator, and every surviving alien knew it. Captain An stood on the bridge of Soul's Vengeance, looking out at the expanding cloud of gas that had once been the collective star system. Status on other operations? All primary targets eliminated or surrendered, her communications officer reported. Human casualties, 0. Enemy casualties estimated 847 billion beings. Signal Earth Command. Mission accomplished. The galaxy belongs to humanity now. In the ruins of the Council Station, human Marines led by Lieutenant Kim secured the facility where his sister had died. He stood in the chamber where she had been executed, looking at the scorch marks on the floor. This is for Ji-won, he said quietly, activating a device that would turn the station into a memorial. Let everyone remember what happens when you murder a human diplomat. The war was won, but as the surviving aliens would soon learn, winning the war was only the beginning. Now came the peace, and humanity's idea of peace would be very different from what the galaxy was used to. The age of human dominance had begun. 6 months after the war ended, the galaxy looked completely different. Where 12 powerful council species had once ruled over hundreds of worlds, now only humans held authority. The 3 surviving council species existed as servants, grateful that humanity had allowed them to live at all. President Min-gyo stood in her new office on the former council station, now renamed Kim Memorial Station in honor of the murdered ambassador. She had been elected after Prime Minister Nam resigned, saying he couldn't transition from war leader to peace builder. Oh was younger, calmer, and better suited for the complex task of ruling a galaxy. The morning briefings, Madam President, said Chancellor Dong-hyun Lee, her chief administrator. He carried reports from across human space, which now included 847 star systems and over 2,000 inhabited worlds. How are our new subjects adjusting? Oh asked, reviewing casualty reports from the recent pacification campaigns. Better than expected. The tentacle folk have proven quite useful as administrators. The crystal singers are excellent at deep space construction work. The tree people seem content managing agricultural worlds. These were the 3 species that had surrendered during the war. Humanity had allowed them to survive in exchange for complete obedience and service. They managed much of the day-to-day operations of the expanded human empire. Any resistance movements? Minor incidents on 17 worlds. Admiral Yoon's response teams handled them efficiently. Total casualties were minimal. Only 847,000 alien deaths. Oh nodded. Such numbers had once seemed horrific, but after watching entire species vanish in nuclear fire, a few 100,000 deaths barely registered. The galaxy had learned that human mercy came with strict conditions. Admiral Kyungmin Yoon, the new Supreme Military Commander, entered with his daily security report. He was younger than the generals who had fought the war, chosen for his ability to maintain peace rather than wage war. Status on the weapons monitoring systems? Oh asked. Complete success, Yoon replied. Every non-human military vessel has been destroyed or converted to civilian use. No alien species possesses weapons more advanced than simple firearms. Even those are closely monitored. The human policy was simple. Only humans could possess advanced weapons. Any alien found with military technology would see their entire world sterilized as an example to others. The Deep Space Patrol reports are also positive, Yoon continued. Our monitoring stations detect any vessel approaching human space from 1,000 light-years away. Nothing moves between stars without our permission. Dr. Soo-young Baek, the new Director of Alien Affairs, brought reports on the integration programs. She was responsible for managing the hundreds of alien species now under human control. The education initiatives are showing good results, she reported. Alien children are learning human languages and values. Adult populations are adapting to their new roles in human society. The integration programs were designed to reshape alien cultures to serve human needs. Children were taught that humans were naturally superior leaders who had saved the galaxy from chaos. Adults were assigned jobs based on their species' natural abilities. Any problems with the breeding programs? O asked. Some species are resistant to genetic modification, but our scientists are making progress. Within 2 generations, most alien populations will be physically and mentally optimized for their assigned roles. This was perhaps humanity's most controversial policy. Alien species were being genetically altered to make them better servants, more intelligent for administrative work, stronger for physical labor, more docile to prevent rebellion. Director Jong-Hyun Song of Diplomatic Security brought the most important report of the day. His department ensured that no alien would ever again threaten human representatives. The Diplomatic Protection Act is working perfectly, he announced. Every alien government understands that harming any human diplomat means immediate extinction for their species. How many species have tested this policy? Chancellor Lee asked. 3 attempted to detain human envoys in the early months. All 3 species no longer exist. Word has spread quickly. Touching a human diplomat is species suicide. O smiled. And voluntary compliance? Complete. 847 different species have formally requested human protection and guidance. They compete to demonstrate loyalty and usefulness to our empire. This was the true genius of the new system. Rather than ruling through fear alone, humans had created a structure where aliens desperately wanted to serve. Being chosen as a human servant species was now the highest honor an alien civilization could achieve. Captain Boyoung An, now promoted to Fleet Admiral, brought reports from the outer territories. Her ships patrolled the edges of human space, watching for any species that might challenge the new order. Deep space reconnaissance shows interesting developments, she reported. Several species that never contacted the old council are sending diplomatic missions to request human membership. How many? O asked with interest. 47 species so far. They've seen what happened to those who opposed us and what benefits come to those who serve faithfully. They want to join our empire voluntarily. Excellent. Assign them to appropriate service categories. The meeting was interrupted by an urgent communication from Colonel Minju Kang, commander of the Memorial Guard at Kim Station. The chamber where Jiwon had been executed was now a shrine visited by humans and aliens alike. Madam President, we have a situation. The Zephyr delegation has arrived early for their loyalty ceremony. The Zephyrs were a new species requesting admission to human space. Their loyalty ceremony would involve swearing absolute obedience to humanity and accepting whatever role humans assigned them. What's the problem? O asked. They brought 10,000 of their leaders to demonstrate their species' complete submission. They're requesting permission to publicly execute any Zephyr who has ever spoken against humanity. O exchanged glances with her advisors. This level of enthusiasm for serving humans was becoming common. Species competed to prove their loyalty in increasingly dramatic ways. Grant permission, she decided, but ensure human observers record everything. Other species should see how serious we are about loyalty. Lieutenant General Woo Jin Kim, now head of Colonial Security, brought the final report. As Jiwon's brother, he had become something of a celebrity throughout human space, representing the personal cost of the war. The Kim Memorial Schools are exceeding enrollment targets, he reported. Human children throughout the empire are learning about their sister's sacrifice and what it means to be the dominant species. And alien children? They're learning the same lessons, but from a different perspective. They understand that humans are their natural leaders and that their species survive only because humans allow it. The education system was crucial to maintaining the new order. Human children learned that they belong to the master race of the galaxy, destined to rule over lesser species. Alien children learned to be grateful for human guidance and protection. O stood and walked to the large window overlooking Earth. The planet looked peaceful from space, but it now served as the capital of an empire spanning a quarter of the galaxy. Status on the expansion projects? She asked. Chancellor Lee consulted his notes. The colonial programs are ahead of schedule. Human families are settling on the best worlds in former council space. Alien populations are being relocated to less desirable planets, where they can serve as agricultural or mining workers. And the exploration fleets? They've identified 2,147 more inhabitable worlds beyond our current borders. Admiral An estimates we could control half the galaxy within 50 years. O nodded with satisfaction. The war had been terrible but brief. The peace was proving far more permanent and profitable. One final matter, Director Song reported. The anniversary approaches. How do we commemorate Ambassador Kim's death and our species' victory? The question was important. The day of Jiwon's execution had become humanity's most sacred holiday. The moment when humans proved they were the galaxy's apex predator. Make it a galaxy-wide celebration, O decided. Every species will participate. They'll remember what happened to those who threatened humanity, and they'll demonstrate their gratitude for human leadership. What about the memorial message? Asked General Kim. O thought for a moment, then spoke the words that would be broadcast to every world in human space. Today we remember Ambassador Jiwon Kim, who died rather than accept slavery for humanity. Her death showed the galaxy who we really are, not another species to be contained but the natural rulers of the stars. Those who serve us faithfully will prosper under our guidance. Those who threaten us will simply cease to exist. This is the human way. This is the new galactic order. As the meeting ended, O remained at the window looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there were species that had never heard of humans yet. They were still free, still independent, still believing they controlled their own destiny. That would change soon enough. The human empire was still growing, still expanding, still bringing order to the chaos of galactic civilization, and every species they encountered would learn the same lesson the Council had learned too late. Humanity had not climbed to the top of the food chain to share power with anyone. They had climbed to the top to stay. There, the age of human dominance was just beginning.